Hey friends, welcome back to East Cobb Homestead. We have been MIA for about a year and a half, and I'm gonna start this video out with telling you why. We had a massive white oak tree fall on our house on August 1st of 2021, and it pretty much cut our house in two. Here in the next few minutes, I'm going to throw in some slides so that you can see it, and a little bit of the damage that it did. We had to move out of our house and live with my mom for 9 months. It has been a very challenging almost 2 years. When we moved out, we had to leave a lot of our stuff here and put it up in boxes or put plastic over it. The rebuild took a lot longer than was planned. And when we moved back in, which is a year ago, this past April 20th, we have spent the last year making our home again. It's a completely different house from what it was before. My granddad built the house in 1951, and the only thing that is the same about this house from that period now is the footprint of the house, and the back half of the house where the bedrooms are. The only thing that really changed back there was a few doorways and some paint, but the front half of the house is completely different. The layout's completely different on the inside. The middle part of the house, which I'll show you here in a minute, is higher up. The ceiling's different. I mean, everything's different. The wall of windows that we used to have is gone. Everything's completely different. So when we moved back in, we did want to do some of our homesteading, and we did a very small garden, and it was not a good garden. It did not produce, and I did not tend to it the way I should have tended to it. We lost a lot of our harvest because I just was exhausted all the time. We had to refurnish our home. We had to buy all new furniture for the front half of the house. New plates, new silverware, everything, because when the tree fell on the house, it was in the middle of a rainstorm. It was a small pop-up thunderstorm that we in the South get across the South, and it hit the straight line winds, which is what we were told took the tree down, hit our house. Then it jumped. I really think a tornado could hit it. It jumped a block down the street and took out another tree, which fell on another person's house. Then it jumped across the street and took out another person's tree and fell on their house. And then across the 120 loop, it took out another building. So it's like it boom, 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 like that. So I really think it was a little hopping tornado, but whatever. But it was at 2:15 in the morning, and we were home. The kids were not home. Thank God. It was just me and Blake. And for whatever reason, Blake could not sleep that night. It was almost like it was intuition. He knew. And I had just slightly woken up because I had heard some thunder rumble, and I had turned over and gone back to sleep. And then we heard simultaneously, and we both knew exactly what it was. We just knew. We knew it was a tree. And we go running down the hallway, and we could just see waterfalls of water coming in the house, at the front door and in the kitchen. And my first reaction was, F it, I'm going back to bed. What was I going to do in the middle of the night? But Blake, thankfully, was thinking clearly, and was like, no, we have to get out of the house because of where the tree fell, where we thought it fell. If it rolled 2 inches towards the left, it would have literally sliced our house in half and we would have been trapped. So he made the very smart call to grab the dog, grab the cat, and get out of the house. And as we're running out of the house, we were running through ankle deep water. I will never forget that feeling. I'm in my nightgown, and it was still pouring rain outside, and it was the most surreal experience of my entire life. That's not something you ever think's gonna happen to you. And as we're in his truck and we're driving away, I just look back at my house and think, am I ever gonna go back there again? Like, we didn't know what the damage was. We didn't know what was gonna happen, and all we could do was thankfully go across the street to my mom's and wait for light to come. And I have some amazing friends. One of my dear friends, Tara, called me at like 6 o'clock in the morning because I had posted something on Facebook. I don't even remember what I posted, and she was like, I've got a friend who's a tree removal company. I'm on the phone with him now. He's going to be calling you. And I kid you not, before 9 o'clock, she had these people at our house, and they were getting the tree off of our house. They had to use a crane to get the tree off of our house. And I'm emotional. I came over here and we watched it together, and they had to cut all the limbs off. The tree came over the entire house. I mean, it was a huge oak tree, and I'll show you later on how close it was to the house. I mean, it was 15 feet from the front of the house. And they got it off the house, and we were able to get inside and see what the damage was. And my granddad built a strong and safe house. When he built this house, he was the architect of this house, and he basically had a finger in every single portion of this house. And the roof of our house was there was a faux attic, and so the ceiling in our house was the original roof of the house, and it was tongue and groove board like this. And then back in the 50s, they did what was called a tar and gravel roof, which of course was not up to code in 2009 when I moved into the house. So we had to build a gable across it. So when when the tree fell on the house, it took out most of the gable. Goof nuts. I'm gonna have to cut this part out of the video because he's just making me giggle. It fell through the gable part of the house, and it didn't break the ceiling, but it allowed enough space to create where all the water was coming in. And there was only one spot, which was here in the middle. I'm looking in right now. I'm looking in at it in the middle part of the house, that the tree actually punctured through the tongue and groove, and it was only about a hole about this big. But we had rain like 4 times after that. And Blake redneck engineered this big, huge blue bucket with a pipe coming out of it. And we had put up tarp where the hole where the ceiling had fallen out, and we had made it all go to the middle, so it was going down in there, and then it was draining out the house, because there was 2 or 3 times where we had to get up in the middle of the night and we were shoveling water, because yes, I refused to leave my house. Once I could go back in it 2 days later, I refused to leave it until the electricity was cut. We lived in our house for 6 weeks after the tree took out the front half of it, and they tore down the middle part of the house. So we had 2 houses at one time, And this side was blocked off by the sliding door that my granddad had built into. And my brother bought me an Instapot, and Blake's boss bought him a Blackstone. And I was hell-bent and did it. And we cooked, and we lived here for 6 weeks after the tree fell on our house. It was not easy, but I was staying as long as I could. I was staying here. So that's the long and short of it. You know, and I'm you know, this slideshow, I'm gonna just throw in a few pictures just so y'all can kind of see the damage. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It was a worst time of my life. It was harder than my divorce. It was harder than my divorce. So we're getting back into it. We're starting the channel back up. We are starting our homesteading back up, and we've got the new chicks. We have got a huge garden this year, and I'll discuss meat chickens later. So we are going to get back to being as self-sustaining as we can be, living in the suburbs of Cobb County. So I'm going to show you the front of the house first. Then I'll show you the back of the house and the chicks, and we'll go down and I'll show you what we did in the backyard. Then I'm going to show you the garden, and which I shot earlier before I lost light. And then we'll get back into this. So this is going to be about a 20-minute long video if y'all stick it out with me. Sorry, it's just a long introduction back. But we're glad to be back. We're glad to be home. We are finally to the point where we can focus on getting back to what we wanted to do with our lives, and we are settled. The kids are happy. They are thriving. And we are happy, and we want to get back to doing this. So here we go, guys. Let's take a look at our new house and our new homestead. So this was the tree that took out our house. That's what's left of it. And this is the house now. So we've got the garage. This corner right here is where the tree fell. Sorry, it just blurred out. So it landed right here. But this is what the house looks like now. It's a very, 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 very different house from what it was before. And in future videos, you will see more of the inside, because I'll do some talks and stuff on the inside. So one of the things that we are doing to restart our homesteading life are chickens again. We've still got our flock, and we'll go down there in a minute. But we got 6 golden comets just the other day to add back to our flock. And we forgot to buy a latch, so we're improvising with a brick. We ditched our old brooder box that Blake so lovingly put together, and he built this new one. It is built out of a shipping crate from his work, and I love it. I think it's great. It's closer to the ground, easier for me to clean, so I love it. This is the back side of the house. There's still some things that have to be done. The tree, as you'll see in videos, came over right here in that corner. And the branches, here's the back porch, literally went out into the garden. Took out the tomatoes. Hear an owl. So it took out what was here was a different awning. Let me zoom out there. But Gramps, Jackson's granddaddy, and Blake and Charlie helped build this back. This is one of the things that we built back almost right after we moved back in. So let's go down. So another portion of what got updated with the tree falling, when we moved back in, I've kind of got a little bit of, I don't like to use the term PTSD because I feel like that needs to be saved for people who had real traumatic experiences, but I've got a little bit of it. And so this row right here, where all these stumps are, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, sorry, 10 trees. We had immediately taken down within like a day after we moved home, because this big boy was leaning. That big boy right there, I want down. That big boy down there with the pallets up against it, I want down. There's a few out in the front yard that I want down as well. Storms come and I'm terrified. Here's another portion of the house that's different now. Where we used to have a side door where that window is, now we have it here. And there's a deck out here, and of course we have the fence right here. So this chain link fence is going to come down, and this is going to be incorporated into the backyard. This is going to be kind of like a party area for all the raging parties that we don't have. But it's going to be more like an outdoor relaxing area. But let's go down and see the chickens before it gets too terribly dark. They're probably already roosted up. A lot of the stuff that we had built previously kind of just got pushed to the wayside because we were gone for 9 months. But there's all of our garden stuff hidden over there. Our chicken tractor's still holding strong over there. And our coop's still holding up. The door is getting a little shot, but our ladies are in there. We've only got 9 of them now, where we had the 13. And various reasons, we've lost, 3 of them? 4 of them? Can't count, math. Lost one to Sky when we were living at my mom's house. Lost Sky. Lost her to bird of prey of some sort. Then the other 3 were just Isa Brown, Golden Comet mixes, whatever they were. Lost one to some kind of animal of prey. Reached in and janked his leg off. And then the one spot, the one 2-foot spot where we don't have hardware cloth around the bottom, that's where it got it. And then just lost some randomly. I mean, they're chickens, they die. We don't consider them pets. I got a few that I'd be a little upset if they passed away, but you know, it's not any huge skin off my back. So I'm going to show you the garden next. I filmed it a little bit earlier when it was still light outside, just to give a scope of how big this garden is. Like we're getting back into this gutso, like just diving head first back into it. We did discuss how the size of the garden is going to take away from the ability to do meat birds, but it's not going to take it away a ton. I mean, yeah, we've lost some space, but the meat birds we're going to try to do, not this year, but next year, because we've got to use the chicken tractor this year for the grow out pen for the chicks we got. But next year, we're going to do meat chickens again, but we're going to do a different breed. We're going to do the Red Rangers, which are supposed to forage more, take a little bit longer to mature, and we're not going to do as many in each one, because as Blake keeps saying, we got a gosh down $400 chicken plucker, we better use it again. So we will use it again. Plus, we use our last chicken of ours, I don't know, like a year ago, and immediately afterwards the kids noticed the difference. Like, this doesn't taste like the chicken we had, Mommy. What's different? It's not our chicken, it's store-bought chicken. Same thing with the green beans. We didn't get enough green beans last year. We only got like 8 quarts. Our green bean crop was awful, and the kids noticed a difference between the canned green beans and our green beans. So that's why we're really going to go big on the garden, which we're going to show you now. So it's hard to explain how big this garden really is. So this is our pepper row. We have got 6 jalapenos and 6 sweet banana peppers going down this row. Then I've got 4 rows of bush green beans. We are going to do our 5th row tomorrow night. My back couldn't take it anymore, but it actually went in really easy. Then we'll have 2 rows of squash. Now this is putting this in perspective, y'all. I think Blake said this is going to be 280 green bean plants. I can't remember how many holes we burned, but they all 4 rows have green beans. Then we're going to have 2 rows of squash right here. And we're going to do them 3 feet apart, so that's going to be 12 plants. So that's 24 holes of squash, and in each hole we always put 2 to 3 seeds, just hoping one of them at least comes up. Then we're going to have 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, of tomatoes with 12 rows, or 12 plants in each row. So that's what, 36? I can't math. I think it's 36 plants. God dog. And then we will have 1, 2 rows of okra, 1, 2 rows of corn. We're going to put some planter boxes in this little area right here, and on the other side of that stump. And then this odd shaped area is going to be half, we're going to split it right here, half spaghetti squash, and we're going to do half cantaloupe. Those are the 2 ones that we're trying out this year. And it doesn't look that big from looking at it far away, but y'all, when you get up on it, this is a massive garden. We did the calculations, measured it from that corner to that corner, and then of course from that corner to that corner, and it was like 2,100 square feet. Now of course you're going to take out some, from this little stump area over here, and of course a little bit right here, but you're only going to take out like maybe 100, 200 square feet of that. So this is huge.